In Sonic Adventure, why are the main set of E100 series Eggman robots powered by birds? Eggman has used animals as a source to power his machines for years, but he's never been consistent with a specific kind of animal for any specific kind of robot. But for the E100 series, they are specifically only powered by birds. And it's not because these robots are specifically designed after Eggman himself, as a sort of weird metaphor, like how Eggman is an egg, and so, these robots that look like him need to be birds because they lay them or something. While they resemble Eggman, that's not what makes them special, as we've seen this design before. What makes them special is what they represent for the Sonic series as a whole: freedom. You see, there are a myriad of humanoid batniks that appear throughout the Sonic franchise. You got the Egg Robos from the classic Sonic games, standing as the first humanoid batniks designed off of Eggman himself, not to be confused with the Robo Egg from Sonic the Fighters. You got the Hardboiled Heavies from Mania, which are basically stronger versions of the Egg Robos. There's also the Four-Man from Dream Team, and Morpho.
You again.
Look, I owe you a my bad. I'm not your brother.
I knew it!
I'm Morpho, a shape-shifting robot from another dimension.
I didn't know it. So why are you here?
My creator accidentally blew up our dimension.
He sounds like a dunce.
I was created by Dr. Eggman.
A lovable dunce.
But the E100 series from Sonic Adventure always felt more special, as this series of batniks harbored the first Eggman robot to rise up and defy Eggman, E102 Gamma. While clearly not the first and only humanoid robots to sport Eggman's design, we find it poetic that the first to rise up in defiance is one that resembles Eggman himself. A sort of thematic storytelling concept of your own hubris being the cause of your own undoing. So Gamma was able to defy his creator by rewriting his own programming and erasing the control Eggman had over him. And after this, he made a decision on his own to provide this same freedom to his brothers. He went on to destroy the other E100 series in order to free them from their endless enslavement in the Eggman Empire. It actually made us realize that while Sonic is the representation of freedom in the series, with his whole concept of being the wind and running free, Gamma himself is actually the first character to exemplify the meaning of freedom. And it's not even thanks to Sonic, as he was about to destroy Gamma. It was thanks to Amy.
And how are you, my metal friend? It's dangerous here. Why not leave Eggman and come with us?
Why do you help me?
I told you we'd be friends the next time we met. Even Birdie wants the best for you. You must ditch that awful Eggman. Amy, come on! We'll meet again, my robot friend!
This just goes to show that Amy, like Sonic, can also inspire freedom in others, and we just think that's neat. Anywho, each time Gamma destroys his brothers, we see a bird come out of them. And this is significant, because it's always the same bird for each robot. You see, in Sonic Adventure, there are 15 different animals that you can collect throughout the game. These animals include deer, elephant, gorilla, kangaroo, koala, lion, mole, parrot, peacock, penguin, rabbit, robin, sea otter, seal, and skunk. You can find them either by running around in various parts of any level or by destroying Eggman's robots. So when you destroy these rabbit guys, you can get a rabbit guy. And when you destroy these fish guys, you get, you guessed it, a gorilla. You see, these animals are random. Like a koala can burst out of a spinner in one level, but then in another you can get a lion. A kangaroo can pop out of a pirate, but also a cop. Out of context, Sonic makes no sense. But for Gamma and his brothers, it's all birds, and it can only be birds. And this is the case no matter how many times you restart the level and fight them. And they don't rotate who gets what bird either. It's the same bird for the same robot every time. E102 Gamma has a pink flicky. E101 Beta has a sort of pale green flicky. E103 Delta has a parrot. E104 Epsilon, a robin, and E105 Zeta, a peacock. Now, we couldn't find any correlation or deeper meaning between the specific birds and the E100 robots they are inside of. In other words, while Delta will always have a parrot, we couldn't find any special meaning as to why Delta is given the parrot and not his brothers. In Sonic Adventure, each animal, as you know, can give different abilities and traits to your Chow within the Chow Garden. When it comes to parrots, they cause the Chow to begin singing to itself. For the peacock, the Chow will be granted the traits of a diva as they would then lay down and pose. Which makes sense as peacocks are seen as very elegant and captivating birds. The robin makes the Chow spin and dance. All in all, we couldn't find any meaning in this in relation to the E100 series. But if you do, let us know down in the comments. So, our point is, this consistency of birds as the power source across all of the E100 series is intentional. But we do want to mention that E100 Alpha, also known as Zero, doesn't have a bird. He's that robot that chases Amy all game and who terrified us as kids in that one mirror room. Zero doesn't have a bird or any animal. The same goes for E123 Omega since he's built different, both literally and figuratively. But what we're getting at here is that the whole idea of the E100 series and adventure, besides Zero, is the theme of birds trapped in a cage. Gamma's entire story and adventure encompasses the themes of freedom and breaking free from your restraints. The first moment he makes a defiant act is when he is looking at a literal bird trapped in a cage.
Go away!
Give me the bird.
Amy and Birdie, this blue flicky's name is Birdie by the way, were trapped in a prison created by Eggman. And so he lets them both free after Gamma stares at the flicky and begins to feel a connection that he can't quite understand.
Wait a minute, Birdie!
Get going.
Huh? Why are you letting us go?
It is dangerous here. Hurry, we'll be arriving at the Mystic Ruins base soon.
So, you're not like those other robots, huh? You truly are a good person inside, aren't you? I guess we can be friends then. Take care, okay?
In this moment, Gamma is unknowingly staring into a mirror, as he too is a bird trapped in a cage. He just doesn't know it yet. It's beautiful, really. And no, we're not saying that Gamma is actually the pink bird that's trapped inside of him, as the two are separate entities. We just mean the metaphor of Gamma himself not being free. Birds have always been used to symbolize messages of freedom and making your own choices. And Amy being the one who sees Gamma for not what he is, an Eggman robot, but for who he can be, his own person or robot, just reinforces that idea of flying free and defining your own path. Just like how Amy saw the defenseless bird and immediately wanted to help, Amy does the same for Gamma when she saves him from Sonic. This is because she understands that these robots weren't given the choice. Following Eggman is all they know. These robots, Gamma, are the defenseless birds that Amy's loving personality can't help but want to protect and encourage. Also, while writing the script, we learned from Gamma's wiki that at one point during Sonic Heroes development, he was planning to come back as a playable character. And he was going to be in a team with Chaos and Big, of all people. Probably as some sort of Sonic adventure team called Team Adventure. But it got us thinking, what sort of interactions would the three have together? Like, Gamma has never seen Chaos before, and both Chaos and Gamma straight up stole Froggy from Big at one point. Would they get along or try to fight each other? What do you guys think? And as always, if you enjoy what we do, and only if it's worth your time, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out. Anyway, back to the video. Amy and Gamma's relationship has always felt really sweet to us. Like, it was such a unique idea to have Amy befriend a badnik, to the point that they want to protect each other. And so it was really sad to see Gamma die at the end of his story, because we couldn't see this relationship with Amy develop. As kids, when we played this, we always wondered what this relationship would have led to and how it would change the dynamic of the characters. But fortunately, we did eventually get to see a similar dynamic, thanks to Sonic Advance 3. It wasn't in the exact way, but seeing G-Meryl also rise up against Eggman, and then later be a part of Cream's family thanks to Tails reprogramming. It felt like we finally got closure on seeing an Eggman loyal robot eventually turn and befriend a young girl whom he wants to protect. Emerald was the same way, of course, back in Sonic Battle, but he met a fate similar to Gamma. Not the same fate, since it was Gamma's choice to self-destruct, and for Emerald it was built into his code and he didn't have a choice, which was extremely sad, but you get the point. It's nice to see this dynamic exist in a character that lives on. To us, this all makes us feel like Gamma is a symbol of breaking free from constraint, and that his actions led the charge for future generations of man-made machines like Omega, G-Meryl, and Emerald to also break free from their control. Gamma didn't lead the charge in a direct way, as none of the other robots we mentioned even knew who Gamma was, but he may have led this charge of robot rebellion in a more indirect way. You see, the reasons why they all break free and the way their stories play out all differ from each other. But the idea that Sonic and friends could have, thanks to Gamma, gained a soft spot, or at least a stronger sense of understanding towards future rebellious Eggman robots? This idea is a very nice thought. After all, their experience with Gamma was the first time any of them even realized it was possible for an Eggman robot to defy Eggman. And since the bird in Gamma shows up at the end of Adventure alongside everyone else, but with Gamma himself absent, it's safe to assume that Sonic and friends understood what happened. Or at least it's safe to assume that Amy told them all what happened during her adventure. And maybe through Gamma's sacrifice, they all began to think more positively about Eggman's robots being less inherently evil and more forced to be evil, as these robots don't think they have any choice.
That's right! You will now obey only me.
Heck, we see this with Metal and IDW when Sonic is genuinely wishing for Metal to turn over a new leaf and fly free from Eggman's control, to make his own choices in life. But what we're saying is that throughout the series, there have been several instances of characters like Cream, Amy, or Sonic encouraging Eggman robots to pursue a life of their own. Even Shadow does this with Sage and Crossworlds.
We are both creations of the Robotnik lineage. Would you consider us family?
I've put that part of my history behind me. I live for myself. You should do the same.
This example is a little different, of course, as Sage is an AI and not a robot, but she's still an artificial creation of Eggman. And it's poetic to think that this mindset of giving Eggman robots a chance to change for the better all began thanks to their experience with Gamma back in Adventure. That's what we mean by Gamma acting as a symbol for future generations. Again, not directly, but indirectly. And obviously, yes, some Eggman robots like Metal, Orbot, and Cubot have much more autonomy and agency, and they still willingly choose to go back to Eggman and obey him. Well, at least for Metal's case, he was reprogrammed to behave this way after his rebellious uprising in Heroes. But the point we're making is that it's possible that an Eggman robot wouldn't choose this path, and instead, they would follow the same footsteps as Gamma, the first one to rise up.
Dr. Robotnik. Enemy. Master registration. Deleted. E-Series. Friends. Must save.
Gamma eventually understood the importance of life and what it meant to be truly free. And right before Gamma engages in his final fight with Beta, he pauses for a moment to denote the last E100 units left to save.
E105 Zeta rescue complete. Units remaining. Gamma. Beta.
It's in this moment when he's fully realized that his own existence is predicated on that of another. His life is powered by another creature's life. And if he wants that creature to be free and live, then he himself would have to die. The moment where he just stares at his hand and says his own name as he thinks of this will always be chilling to us. And no music is even playing here either. It's quiet.
Gamma.
And all we hear are the sounds of the ocean waves, as Gamma comes to terms with sacrificing his own life. But it's not an entirely sad ending to Gamma. At most it's bittersweet, since in the end, in his eyes, he and his brothers are saved. Saved from the programming that kept them bound to serving a cruel and malicious ruler like Eggman. Gamma's theme in Sonic Adventure, specifically the one that plays during his death, is titled Unbound, a word meant to describe something that is unchained and free from the tight bounds that once restrained it. Just like a bird flying free from its cage. And just like the bird we see fly free from Gamma.